What's up, guys? How you doing today? I'm Tony from 91 Octane Suspension Systems, here with Mark, Scouts Out.
What's up?
Little time at the new circuit at Buttonwillow this last weekend, buddy.
Yeah, bro, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Like the way the track is designed, the corners and everything, and how all the traction you get out there was friggin' fantastic. We got real lucky with the weather. When we were raining a couple days prior, we were kind of nervous about how it was going to roll out. Saturday, Sunday turned out perfect. Nice clear skies, low 50s in the morning, high 60s in the afternoon, and the track was just sticky and fantastic. It was pretty rad.
We did hear quite a few people talking, like new track, everybody's excited. We've been waiting to get out there. And a lot of guys were saying the grip was good and it wasn't super harsh on tires.
Right, definitely.
That was really cool to hear with new surface. I feel like every time we get a top coat on a circuit anywhere in the US these days, the number one complaint is it chews tires up.
Yeah.
Especially the Pirelli guys running the soft stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Nobody wants a 4-sessioner left on the rear. But and you're on the Aprilia 660 Trofeo, yeah?
Yes, sir. It's been a good bike for me. Like coming from the R7, going to that has been it's been nice to not have to like build up my own bike. I mean, there's still plenty of tweaks I got to do to the bike for sure, especially suspension, as you know. But the jump from the 7 to the 660 has been fun. I finally have kind of gotten the bike down where I'm comfortable with the bike now, and now it's just kind of grinding those lap times down for me and understanding the tracks a little bit better. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about the 660.
Cool. Yeah, dude, it's a rad platform.
Thanks.
I've had a chance to ride a couple versions, couple generations of the 660 and the Tuono 660, and it's a weapon.
Yeah.
It's agile, it moves well.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you like the power coming out? I know we haven't gotten into the actual video of it, but we got a chance to take a peek at this earlier.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think of the 660 delivering power on exit with a track like this? It's more exit driven.
There was a lot of times where I needed to get down to that third gear or to that second gear by the end of the apex, and I struggled making that shift happen. And if I did it a little too early, I'd lock up the rear and it would frustrate me. So sometimes I did have exactly that problem where I was maybe going through in a little bit higher gear. So learning how to keep my corner speed up was hard for me. And you'll see that a lot, I think, when you watch some of this video, how I just don't hit a lot of apexes. And it's because I'm nervous about slowing down too much. And I don't want to hit that last gear shift because I don't want to slide out that rear. So I do kind of try and hold my speed by coming in a little wide, but I don't cut it off at the end. So yeah, I think the track is cool because it's teaching me something so new, but the 660 and the power of it, I got to learn how to get in the right gears.
Okay.
If that
Gearing is definitely everything when you're playing on the smaller machine.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it feels like it's a little too high, but fortunately we got slipper clutches in these newer machines. So if it dances a little going in, you just know okay, when you get back to that gas, it's going to really just kind of
mellow,
scoot you out.
Yep. Still a little nerve wracking.
Well, dude, let's jump into some of the footage then.
Okay.
Okay, so this is coming out of the main straight.
Yep.
Okay, so it looks like 5th gear down, 4th, 3rd. Okay, you can see those cones out there where you were talking about the water.
Yeah, we got a little bit of water out there seeping up from the asphalt.
Okay, 3rd all the way through, wound out. And this corner is interesting. It kind of cambers out, but it banks in as you go into it.
Yeah, I was trying to treat it like a double apex kind of. The exit part of it, interestingly.
Yeah, it's definitely a little reminiscent to me of the bowl at Chuckwalla in the opposite direction. Maybe not quite as tight.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple of fast guys out there with you, huh?
Oh yeah, a lot of leader bikes out there. I think there was a couple of the Moto Americas out there that weekend with us, so it was kind of interesting.
Cool. It's always good. They want to get a feel for it before they got grid time for one of their own races. Yeah, one thing I'm seeing is there's a lot of hard surfaces in the run-out areas.
Yeah.
Quite a few walls. But as we were talking earlier, it sounds like they're going to be getting rid of the one at turn 1, which is the big scary one.
Yeah, Dustin from Track Days is going to get that whole thing demoed. He's already kind of worked it through, which is pretty rad.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so you were kind of curious about, lines and corners, and from looking at the track, it looks like you're spot on. Like everything is a very relatively aggressive decreasing radius.
Yeah.
It really tightens up as you get through it. This one kind of looks a little like a bit of Star Mazda or Turn 12 out at Coda, where it gets really, really hairpin.
Yeah.
And you're staying, a little more like mid-track, like still apexing through, but not quite closing it as much.
Yeah.
You're learning the track, you're getting familiar with the line on it. And there's a couple wet sections you had set on the inside, so that kind of makes sense. You're being a little careful with them. And I mean, just from lap to lap on that hot lap, you took another second off. But yeah, for this guy, like, I want to get in. I'm like still on brakes, like, so carrying that marker probably another 20-25 yards in,
and then cut
that little bit more roll speed, little more brake for lighter brakes for a longer period of time, so you can trail all the way in, and you'll feel that front end suck right up to that apex on that curb.
Okay.
And same, this one's kind of a twist. That one you could probably get away with a little gas in between to lift the bike up coming out of the left-hander, and then close that throttle again for some direction to the right.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, some of these are really, really long.
Yeah. This was such a fun section of the track.
Yeah, and this still isn't the straight, but you've got a lot of drive corners.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting track. After watching a full lap in here and seeing you go through another, I always kind of come back to Ken Hill. Because Ken Hill is like the legend, right?
Definitely.
For information we have access to as an everyday rider, somebody that doesn't necessarily have a lot of track experience or might have a ton of track experience, and we're just trying to keep fundamentals fresh and build a good, solid platform to build from.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
See that?
Just right up that inside, backing it in a little bit.
Yep.
So it really gives you a fantastic set of tools that you have access to. And, the amount of times that I've fallen asleep on the weekends when I'm prepping or getting ready to go, just listening to something that's like key for a purpose-built, like, practice session, something that I'm focusing on. Maybe I've done an ergo change for my bike to bring the bars a little tighter in, so I've got to really focus on making sure I keep my core tight, my hands really loose, because I'm going to be in a position that's a little more racy, a little less comfortable than my supermoto. So, those are really good things to do. That was beautiful right there, and you're driving early. Yeah, so it looks like your lines are improving every single lap. You're just kind of starting to find that feeling with where you go in. You can push your brake marker in this so much deeper than you did. Because where this tightens up right there, I would be on the gas right about where those cones were pointing in the beginning.
Yeah.
So pushing it a little deeper, going to close throttle and braking, tipping in, and then getting your direction, and then immediately as you roll off, get back up and push that bike up to keep your body off, so you're hovering over those. So a lot of these corners I'm seeing, because of how the radius decreases, you might want to drive a little sooner to get yourself all the way to the exit of the track while you're still rolling onto the throttle. Where in some of them you can see like you're kind of maintenancing throttle while your bike is still moving out.
Yeah.
So if you get that direction a bit sooner, especially on this bike where you need to get to the gas earlier to have some roll speed at the end of your straights to keep up with the big leader bikes, that might be a beneficial part of training to get your mind in the mindset of like turn quicker, turn sharper, and get your turning done sooner.
Okay.
And that just means a little bit more brake for duration of time, but less pressure throughout. So maybe instead of carrying 75% brake pressure in, you might only be working with 55 to 60%
at a lower. Okay.
Yeah, this is where telemetry on a bike is really fun to watch and see what's happening, because you can see identical pressures from rider to rider in the same corners, and you might be really shocked to see how fast somebody might be with a slower roll speed. They might have the slowest speed around the track, and yet they have the highest lap time. They have the fastest lap time. And it's just, they get direction sooner, which means they're at wide open throttle for a longer period of time.
Okay. Interesting.
It's a really cool looking track though.
Yeah, honestly, it was a lot of fun out there. Like, I was definitely a little frustrated on the first day in the morning. I had a hard time understanding the decreasing radius stuff, but it's just a new experience for me. And I think that's another really cool thing about the Buttonwillow Classic track versus this new circuit that we have. Like, the amount of training experience we can gain out of those two tracks it's insane now. Like, we're super lucky, super fortunate, I think.
Very cool. Well, dude, I think as far as the track goes, it looks really fun.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you're going to love it when you get out there.
Because I feel like Buttonwillow, on their normal circuit, we run like, the clockwise 13 is the standard AFM configuration. And you've got Sweeper is a corner that I feel when you're talking double apexes is one of those where you kind of have to get in, you scrub a little speed going in, and you
Right
can
at
carry
the
a lot
end,
more in
yeah.
it. So that's a great example of one of those where you could tip in early and still run that really, really far out, use a little gas to kind of drive yourself to your next tipping point.
Yeah.
And with this, it seems a little more like you could carry more of that speed into a lot of them.
Totally.
But that also, you can go one of two ways. You could be a little farther outside and you could try to like carry a very consistent line all the way into where you finally like get back to your off brake marker and back to gas.
Yeah.
Or you could carry it up inside if you're trying to, maintain a little more of like a block pass technique where you don't
Right.
want anybody to come up the inside of you and just slingshot in. So you could scrub that and then carry a little more speed and scrub it as you go out and kind of fine point on the outside a little more and get your direction there. And somebody might pass you coming up inside, but a lot of times what will happen is you're in the inside, and by the time you hit halfway down, you're already driving past them again before the next
Because I
corner.
could get on throttle sooner.
So
Okay.
there's a lot of variety with the lines, but I'm very excited to get out and turn some laps on this.
Bro, do
this
that.
track
You're
myself.
gonna love it. Yeah.
Dude, what was your favorite part about it?
I have to say that I think it's 6 and 7. Just the fact that I can keep the speed in there. It's slightly cambered, so you can. It's just crazy how much more speed you can take in with the camber, and that lean angle is like you're just getting more out of the lean angle basically, and just. I love the fact that you're hauling balls, you're hard on brakes, you're getting into tight corners. It's just technical. There's so much more to it where you like if you look at the Trap Mac, it just shows a bunch of straightaways and a couple corners when you're looking at it like real quick, but everything is haul ass, slow down, adjust your, tighter corners, more technique involved in each corner. And then, it's just different from what I'm used to riding, I guess. So that was kind of what made it more fun to me. It's like I'm just learning something new.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of that challenge, you got to identify what you're doing with every single one of those corners. And main track at Buttonwillow has always been kind of flowy. It's high speed, but it's very flowy. It's a very symmetry based track. Your entrance is pretty high speed. You're getting direction. You're back to the gas, but you're kind of using throttle to steer in position to where you need to be for the next corner. And if you miss one, it's gonna take you out for a couple. Cotton Corners, great example.
Yeah,
going into 3, if you blow that and you miss that left-hander, then you've got that off-camber crest over the hill where you need a little bit of trail brake to get direction quickly, and then you're kind of gunning and lifting the tire as you're cresting it. That's a good example of like that high speed kind of flowy, but you're moving at a slower roll speed there. This is a lot more, I would say, entrance based. A lot of these corners looking at, if you mess up your entrance going into the corner, you're going to lose so much roll speed by the time you're getting to your apex point. You're not really going to have that drive. So gear selection is going to be really important, and having the right gearing for this track looks like it will be too, especially on a twin like what you're on.
And that could probably help out too, looking into maybe changing up the gearing for it. Because I know I was rolling in a majority of the time 3rd and 4th, where another dude that had taken some time, George, to show me a little bit more on his RS660. We raced against each other last year, and he kind of took me out there one time and showed me, a little bit more on the track with his 660 and the changes in his gearing. He was a whole nother gear up than me the majority of the time. So
taller.
Yeah, he's
so
tall,
when you're in 2nd, he's in 3rd everywhere.
Yeah.
3rd and he's in 4th.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, when you run it a little bit shorter, it is going to give you better off the line grunt. So when you're going back to gas, you're going to have that like sharper, snappier hit. And a lot of these things, like we talked about slipper clutches earlier, when you've got something like that, you drop that extra gear to get into it, even if that engine speed's a little high, if you feather that clutch as it comes out, your rear will dance a little, but you're still going to be relatively hooked up as long as it's settled by the time you tip in. And if you're talking, 1,000 RPM difference on a 600 or a twin 660, that's a huge difference in where you're going to go back to it. You're going to grab the shift faster, and at the end of the day, 10 miles an hour roll speed at the end of that next straight, that's huge.
Yeah.
That changes your brake marker going into it. It changes your overall roll speed on the track. It leads to decreased lap times.
Totally.
It sounds like we just need to get out there and go play.
Oh, bro, we totally do. Yeah, you need to get out there with me, man. Next, I think mid-March or April. I'm sorry,
Mid-April.
Mid-April. We'll track days. We'll have have that track again. So
I wonder how a little 450 Supermoto would do on this.
bro, there was a KTM 450 out there, and that dude was freaking bombing it, man.
Cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, I took mine out and got a little chance to ride a bit with Cody Wyman, and I was on my 450, and it was wild trying to like just carry enough speed in on big track to keep that thing going, and it was bouncing off the rev limiter on the main straight before we were going into sunset. It was a wildly fun machine.
That's awesome.
Well, dude, thanks for sharing. Thanks for giving me a chance to kind of like chat through and just see the track. These are my first on track vids I've seen of the new circuit. So I look forward to getting out there and turning some laps with you in March or April.
Definitely, dude. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, bro. Have a good one.
You too, man.